Some people are in love today, but it may not necessarily be a romantic love. It was last night that Portland pulled out of the JTTF. And this is an event that a lot of people have been waiting for a long, long number of years. Portland rejoined the Joint Terrorism Task Force in 2015. I was present when that took place and vocalized my opposition to that. I even mentioned this recently in a recent video. I was even verbally attacked by someone that was calling me one of those individuals that makes everybody look bad for basically voicing my concern. Well, it's 2019, and there are people that are trusting the federal government far less than they did in the past. And I watched the testimony for about an hour last night, and so I heard the things that were said from the Portland City Council. So I'm going to try to be brief this morning before I go about my day. I'm going to show you a video with Joanne Hardesty in just a moment. I believe that I'm a good judge of character when it comes to body language, when it comes to behavior, when it comes to picking up on the energy in a room when people are talking or speaking. And I have been picking up on a lot of fear from the people of Portland by watching these videos taking place in Portland. One could even say that I am making a mistake. And I'm here to let you know one of the reasons why this is kind of painful on me is I've warned the people of Portland from a independent perspective about corruption within our own government and the city being broken down to a level of civil unrest by design. That's why I think they're even funding some of these civil unrest operations to weaken it before the big time geopolitical events. If we see another event, I'm gonna try to use my words very carefully. I believe that there could be internment of not only non-Muslims, but other American born because of their strange names or perceived ethnicities. Again, we're dealing with technology that Adolf Hitler could only salivate over. Something is taking place, has been taking place with whatever the JTTF has been doing in Portland for a number of years. So why are they pulling out? And how did Wheeler feel about it, who is falsely accused of being the leader of Antifa? He really has his own agenda. I don't trust him. And seeing his speech last night kind of uh, validates some of my concerns about him in the future. And I would appreciate those of you of various politics that are tuning into my stream of consciousness. I'm going to be showing you again clips of Top Off 4, but just watch what I did in Portland in 2007. So open up into a sidebar, especially if you're new to my work, especially if you're a snowflake on the right or the left and you can't handle an independent perspective who is reporting on things while some of you are still in diapers or still listening to Lady Gaga. So type in Alex Ansary Top Off 4. You know, the type of thing that ought to be auto suggesting when you look up Alex Ansary. So look up Alex Ansary Top Off 4, Portland, Oregon, and watch that. Watch my, listen to my questions to Michael Chertoff. There was a press conference in 2007. Someone gave me a press pass that wanted to see me cover it because it was all mainstream media. And I had a crappy camera, and people thought it was weird that I was even there asking about the big questions. And what were those big questions? And again, this is right before we went into the JTTF by a few years. It was Top Off 4, 2007. So you had Homeland Security under Bush in Portland testing basically how they would lock down the city, how they would friggin' lock down the city. And guess who was involved in Top Off 4 on a at least observing the exercise? I mean, when I looked at him, he looked like a CIA goon. He looked like a CIA stooge because I didn't know his name. But my camera, where I was pointing, it's like I intuitively set my camera on a particular man. That man, you know, as Ted Wheeler. He was not the mayor then, but a young buck Alex Ansary at age 27 in the year 2007, right, was literally at Portland International Raceway filming their little mock-in, blow up of the city. Those involved in the exercise, the government, they did like a mock blow up of a TriMet bus. Really weird stuff at Portland International Raceway. And the young girls at the time at the high schools, they got them to dress up like zombies. Yeah. And it would be really weird that they would have the zombie dance in Portland in years after. The annual Portland zombie dance. along with the bike ride. And now we're seeing real life zombie behavior in the streets of Portland today. It's just insane. But I think that this is a very important time to reflect. I'm not trying to rush through this point. I want you to contemplate the stages. So we see like this 2007 period and all this focus on these exercises, right? And then in 2008, black helicopters swarmed the city, freaking people out. Even people that lived in inner southeast on the other side of the Ross Island Bridge, they were even going, what the fuck? Are we at war with Iran? What the fuck? And so there's an article about it, and it's titled "Black Helicopters Here?" question mark. And if you Google that and Oregonian Live or Oregon Live, you should be able to find the article and read about it. So it was not something that was normal. And there are still people that are alarmed to this day about black helicopters in Los Angeles. And now we're in this era of time where they don't want us talking about what they call conspiracy theories, on YouTube. So it's a pinch myself moment because so much of what I've warned you about is happening, but I try to stay away from manic um, perceptions of world events, like everything is fixing itself now, or it's all going down now. This is where 95% of the population is at in terms of psychology. We're about to burst out of something, or things are, and it's like, it's not that simple. And we can really get caught up in the emotions of others. And here I am, a Portland native. So, energetically, I'm connected to the consciousness of Portlanders, especially when, you run around my old stomping grounds. And I've been covering stuff in Portland for many, many years. And there are people that are just now in recent years or last year talking about issues, but they don't really have the full context of the Portland corruption history and how it supersedes left-right paradigm. Some people are just brainwashed by the media and the stuff that's going on right now with the left-right divide, that they don't know about Portland's microcosmic issues and levels of corruption. They're in the dark. They're totally in the dark. So when they're being exposed to stuff on the internet, saying this, that, and this is why things are in Portland, unless you're from Portland or unless you've been covering certain things in Portland for a number of years, you don't know the background. I saw one article that didn't even mention that individual in 2009 that was set up by the FBI, an FBI operation, for him he was a Somalian immigrant. They contacted him, they baited him, and they got him to uh, drive a vehicle that they alleged was prepped with their stuff. They financed him. They taught him how to blow up a backpack. His name was Muhammad. So he was their stereotypical boogeyman Muslim terrorist. Seriously, a would-be Muslim terrorist, 2009, but it was created by our own government. What's happening, and Ted Wheeler said he did not want to pull out of the Jttf. We saw some heard some impassioned speeches from the other council members. So it's not to say that they are free of their own corruption, if you will. No one is. None of us are. But is there more good than corruption, the imperfection of man and woman, of an individual with certain people? I think there can be times in which, even if there's elements of their personality that we may not like, or the media may not like, or YouTubers may not like, in the end, are there people in power or influence with voting power that may be there at the right time to do the right thing? Now, is this necessarily making Portland safer? Ted Wheeler does not believe so, but I suspect that he is in with a higher level of the government. You need to think beyond left and right and Donald Trump. There are elements of the government, the federal government, and think beyond just McDonald's slang like deep state. I've been involved in conspiracy research, ladies and gentlemen, for over 15 years. Nobody said the word deep state until recent years. When people come and swing their shovel hook punch from that angle, it's coming from a particular ideology that isn't even addressing, quote unquote, the shadow government or the NWO. So if you are generally like an individual that would love the old school Alex Jones and that type of pounding the fist on the table against the lies, then be legitimate. Don't be a hypocrite, because old school Alex Jones warned us about things like the JTTF. They bottom out. Let's get back to the main topic. Some of you are just, young adults. or adults that are older but don't have the background knowledge or information. I still meet people today that can't differentiate between a guy like me and Alex Jones and what we stand for, and how there's like a real truth movement and a fake truth movement. But let's get back on point. So I'm narrating to you in a way that no Portlander ever has. Clyde Lewis has covered some elements of it, but in his own apocalyptic Planet X context, which really goes nowhere but fear, fear, fear. The greater context, a more truthful context, is that Portland is a target city for the real elite, not the hamburger gate ones that people speculate about online, the deep dish pizza, but rather a city that's being weakened by design by civil unrest, that's going to open up the door, if you will, to intervention from other governments once we deal with this geopolitical crisis. But on the path to that, they want to dupe the American people into forming brigades that would put people, suspects, into concentration camps. And what they're waiting for is an event. What the far right is waiting for, salivating for, whether or not they'll make it happen or not, that is yet to see. But Portland is really at risk of an event being manufactured there that could potentially go live. And for 10 years, over 10 years, I've warned of this potential scenario and what would follow. So I'm going to wrap things up. I am going to go to town today. We have another snowstorm. Please pray for me that I won't get stuck trying to come back. But there is a snowstorm coming, and I got to run an errand. I also have to make sure they have enough propane and water and fuel as I live here off the grid using my generator to operate this right now, as well as solar. So look at all these people that are doing so much better than me financially that cry about being victims, that talk about having superior IQs, and they never leave their ivory towers. I need you to contemplate also within this madness, those people that are screaming about IQ rates and levels and things of that nature, foaming at the mouth, without actually showing a higher level of intelligence that we can relate to. So let's intelligently see high level discussions and talks about the issues that face us all, instead of people being balkanized into left and right. You're either with Antifa or you're with the Proud Boys Patriot Prayer, or you're a Democrat or you're a Republican, you're a white or you're a non-white. Like literally, we are taught madness by the archons that rule over these cities. And people that think that they're tolerant and not ethnocentric, they will still judge a guy like me for looking at things from a spiritual perspective. That's in my blood. How is it there are people that claim that they're so loving to diversity that they could be so judgmental to people like me that feel like a Native American like 300 years ago, 400, 500, saying, wait a minute, something's coming upon the ocean. Something's going to be coming from this direction or that direction. At one point, we may be, quote unquote, invaded, taken over. There was a time in which elements of the native tribe, anyone that may have had a vision, could have been considered a little crazy, or maybe they were a little bit more tolerant. But today, with all of your supposed tolerance, and on the right, all of the supposed appreciation for those of us that speak for the Constitution's value in our life, that don't want to get rid of the Constitution, but speak of it from a deeper level. Freedom of speech from a deeper level, not just for some politics, or the left or the right, but taking that to a deeper level, and taking other things to a deeper level. What does it really mean to be a patriot? No, not somebody that like loves the fact that we have a Patriot Act and a renewal of the Patriot Act. No, but a real patriot. What does that even mean? They bastardized it. I used to associate with being a part of the patriot movement for 12 years. It was okay, too, in the eyes of others. Under Bush and under Obama, times have changed in recent years, and no one has attempted to try to show me otherwise. The worst is yet to come. I'm terrified of my predictions going live. So as you hear me suggest that you research things like Operation Blackjack, Google it. Paul Joseph Watson did a video on it, but I don't like what turned into or the direction that they've gone in recent years. But some of their early work and investigations, even Clyde Lewis of Ground Zero Radio did a report on Operation Blackjack. I've done my own reports, and it is painful going over this again and again and again. But I'll say this briefly and then hand it back to you. And I'm not even going to bother to even try to get a message out to the city of Portland, Joanne Bowman and the others, because I've tried in the past. They gatekeep. And that's a fact, Jack. So in Operation Blackjack, right? People naturally gatekeep, even if they have good intentions on the left, against things that they deem conspiracy theories, and it's horrible and terrifying because some of these theories are about how others try to persecute them. So when they try to go on cable TV and they talk about they're going to stand against supremacy, they're going to da 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 da, and they're hypocrites. Because even the people that they're criticizing, some of them are employees of the city of Portland. Some of the hell-shaking preachers, I just figured that out like last night looking at some article. Like, wait a minute. Some of the people that they're actually criticizing that are part of the far right are connected with the city of Portland. And that's not a detail that you're hearing from some people. That is freaky. And so when you look at the city of Portland and its civil unrest, there's not really a great deal of intelligence on either side. Just a big game of, well, they did this, then we did this, but we're better. We have the moral high ground. But if you study all the videotapes and all the things going on, there really isn't much of a higher ground. Is there a lesser of two evils? Not everyone's going to agree on that. But not everyone's calling for deportation of particular vulnerable groups that have been blamed for that event that got us in these wars. Now, when Alex Jones started out telling people that the event that got us in these wars was actually perpetuated by other forces other than those vulnerable community members, then if people came and call out that level of hypocrisy and the Alex Jones deception, are we dealing with intelligent people on the left or the right that are doing things in their own best interests? Or is this just constantly a battle of Democrat versus Republican, Republican versus Democrat, but we really aren't going anywhere? We really aren't freeing ourselves from the surveillance society. We really aren't having deeper conversations about Muhammad in 2009 and the FBI's role in that. Or how about the FBI's role in overt white supremacy groups? Because, yes, while there's a lot of concerns about doxing and whatnot, what you really have, in my opinion, is the federal government or other forces funding some of these patriot gatherings in order to obtain data and information on some of the fringe people that might join them. How did I learn that these things were going on? By listening to the testimony of Mark Kessler on YouTube. Admit that he started his YouTube channel and as a police officer or chief on the East Coast, he deliberately spoke about violence towards lefties in order to collect information on people that actually wanted to go live with it. What has the city of Portland concerned, I think, but not Wheeler, but it has the women concerned. In this sense, we do see how it took women to do what could be argued to be the right thing, whether somebody wants to hear that or not. 3 women outvoted 2 corrupt men that are in the pocket of the system. Nick Fish and Wheeler are system men. They voted to keep Portland the JTTF. The women that I do not think are as corrupt, they're on the periphery. They seem to have the empathy for the people that have been affected by mismanagement of funds, perhaps seeing the JTTF surveil certain community members that they have empathy for. And there's other people watching this that back in the day, they may have been in line with the old school Alex Jones worldview of we can't trust the feds. But you'll have people thumbing down dislike mobs, disliking the fact that Portland's leaving the JTTF. And there will be people cursing Portland, saying Portland is going to be hit. And there's already people in the comment sections calling for horrible things to happen to the people of Portland. And I'm suggesting here that there may be something that is manufactured to make Portland ground zero for a particular event. Hey, maybe Clyde Lewis isn't even fully aware of the significance of his presence in Portland, as well as how the forces of influence in the corporate media and the right wing have allowed a guy like Clyde Lewis to be on the air. I always felt that it was a bad sign. And by the way, Clyde Lewis is associated with Alex Jones. And when you get really to the meat of it, there's a reason why some people are in the media, even if they talk about things that you're into. And there's a reason why some of us are gatekept from the media. and not allowed to rise on YouTube beyond 100 views or 200 views. I'm in my I started in 2006 on YouTube, got really a little bit more serious about it in recent years, but more regular after 2009. So that's like my 13th year. But yeah, I'm at a growth rate of like an individual that's also just starting his channel, where certain people that, may have a certain level of growth pretty quickly for whatever reason, because the algorithm dictates that. And I've seen since the demonetization started that all of my reporting on federal informants and agent provocateurs, not only does probably my channel get flagged and go straight to the FBI as they listen to my videos, but the videos are demonetized if I even use certain words. And at this point, I've come up on their radar so much, I don't even care. I only care so much really at this point how long I remain on this planet. As far as I'm concerned, I leave it up to the supreme deity, beyond the God of this world, of the Abrahamic religions. But no offense to those of you that believe in religions. Just allow me to be free and spread my own wings. Because I've been attacked by the evil of this world by not following your atheistic worldviews or your religions. I've just spoken my truth. Like a modern day Indian born in Portland, seeing danger coming from the west and a sea of people fleeing on foot, in many cases, east, and how they've set it up for some people to be locked inside the city. Whether you're a woman of any ethnicity on the right or the left, how could you not deny that there's clues that I've given you about things that are to come to the Rose City? But yet I feel like I've failed at establishing real friendships with people of the Rose City. I've been haunted for years. What is it? What is it that's so wrong with me? So inadequate that it would fail for so many years to reach the people of Portland and feel that type of camaraderie, especially now as I feel tears streaming down my eyes, watching these things happening in Portland, watching this divide, knowing that there are other forces of evil that are dividing the people of Portland that are not Portlanders, and knowing that this is a setup like a 1-2 punch before the real invasion. The alt-right is just the appetizer. Okay, so with that, we will go to this video with Joanne Hannity.
I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling like one of my campaign promises I've been able to fulfill today, and it was so wonderful to see the city council chambers filled from top to bottom, and a room that was an extra room filled with people standing room only. So clearly this is an issue Portlanders care deeply about.
Were you hopeful? I mean, I know we talked about it on the campaign trail, you talked about it quite a bit, but did you think it was likely?
Yep.
You did?
Yeah.
Hearing the testimony outside there today and the passion behind it and also just the numbers that you had there in your favor, what was that like for you? Because this is a different context, like this is when it's actually happening and going down.
Yes, it was fabulous. I'm still an organizer. I understand I needed to count to 3, and I also needed to make sure that people came out and shared their lived experience. And I couldn't.
I realized the audio was no good, so we'll start again.
I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling like one of my campaign promises I've been able to fulfill today, and it was so wonderful to see the city council chambers filled from top to bottom, and a room that was an extra room filled with people standing room only. So clearly this is an issue Portlanders care deeply about.
Were you hopeful? I mean, I know we talked about it on the campaign trail, you talked about it quite a bit, but did you think it was likely?
Yep.
You did?
Yeah.
Hearing the testimony outside there today and the passion behind it and also just the numbers that you had there in your favor, what was that like for you? Because this is a different context, like this is when it's actually happening and going down.
Yes, it was fabulous. I'm still an organizer. I understand I needed to count to 3, and I also needed to make sure that people came out and shared their lived experience. And I couldn't have asked for a better turnout. Could have asked for better testimony, and I couldn't have asked for a better reason to pull out than hearing what we heard from both the Department of Justice and the FBI. I mean, it's really clear to me that they think they don't have to follow Oregon state law, that they're just about federal law, and we do things a little bit different in Oregon than they do at the federal level.
What kind of message does this send to the current administration?
Well, that Portland and Oregon will continue to go our own way, and we won't be intimidated, and we won't use fear to actually hide behind fear to actually other people in our community. we're all in this together. And so we're either all going to be safe together or we're all going to be unsafe together. But the important thing is that I think what we showed today is that Portland is really about making sure that everybody feels safe in their local community.
And then for those who hear, the term safety over and over
Right.
from the U.S. Attorney's Office,
Right,
from the
right.
FBI, and they're worried about possible repercussions from this move,
Right.
what would you say to them?
Well, I would say that police will continue to operate how police operate in the city of Portland. If people are in fear, if they see a crime happening, they should do what they've always done. They should pick up the phone and call 911. I don't believe that we're less safe because we're not in the Joint Terrorism Task Force. I think what we're not doing now, based on this vote, is we're not cooperating with this current federal government around surveilling people because of where they were born, what religion they practice, or what country they came from. I mean, that's not a Oregon value, that's not a Portland value, and the fact that the FBI could not just straight across the board say, well, no, we would never target people. They kind of danced around it a lot until I asked direct questions, and when I asked them direct questions, quite frankly, I was kind of horrified by what they said. We have a Department of Justice director who doesn't believe in our sanctuary law. So if they don't believe in it, then how are they going to make sure that Portland police officers are walled off from that information?
This would be a good time to bring you up to speed on a couple other details regarding that. So maybe you're getting the picture that different government agencies, from the city of Portland to the feds, they're not unified in how they view certain things. And the federal government has a lot of support from the right wing unless they perceive the feds to be coming after them or the FBI. It's hypocritical again. And this is not a good way to go through life. Now you trust the government. Now you don't. Now the government has an antichrist. Now the government is the savior. This is manic. This is bipolar. This is mental illness. But this is why Democrats don't like me. This is why Republicans don't like me. This is why they confuse me for their political, racial, religious, and other enemy. But I'm not your enemy. I'm trying to be your brother. I'm trying to help you. But society won't allow me to do that. So they shrug this off as a conspiracy theory. And it's really fucking sad. I'm Alex Ansary, signing off. Check out the links down below. Support me if you can.